This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, well, thank you guys for getting back on. Welcome back to part 2 of the Safe Place New Coordinator Training. And I think like I said, we'll look at some Indiana specific things and then go over the database and the website so that you guys know how to access information as well, and then just open it up to any questions that you have after the fact. But we will go ahead and look at our Indiana programming. As I mentioned, Indiana is the only state in the country that provides money to Safe Place programs. It is not very much money, and 15 of our current 18 programs are funded right now. And that does come with some specific requirements, and I just want to kind of walk you through that. So this is the request for proposal. Agencies wrote their request for proposals in the fall. You guys had your award letters, I don't know, sometime in December, January. I can't remember when I got them out. And then the new contract starts July 1 of 2020. It is a 2-year contract. However, that is dependent upon continued funding by DCS, just like everything else. The IYSA contract with DCS, where we administer this funding, only goes to 21. If it, in the past we've had the contract and then they've continued to extend that contract. So all of this is dependent upon the DCS contract, the available funding from the state. But it is a 2-year process. So it's done and over with. You won't have to write until next fall. So not this fall, but fall 21 is when the RFP will come back open for that. So I want to just kind of go through this just because it has, I was going to pull up the contract and I thought it's probably easier to look at this through the RFP, because you do have to write these things for the RFP. So just kind of looking at what is required. This stuff should look familiar when we talk about the 4 core components. We've already talked about crisis intervention, which is showing up at the site and making sure the young person has access to those resources. We've talked about community ed, site recruitment, and maintenance. We haven't talked yet about program evaluation. We'll cover that more when we go through the database. We've talked a little bit about some of that stuff, but not, I'll talk about more of that when we look at the NSP database. You are expected to follow those implementation standards, which we did look at in detail around that. And, oh, that's very good. That's a good job. Okay.
I just looked at the picture for the mouth.
Well, that's good. Sorry, homework. And then let's go to, maybe this is not the best place to look at it. Let's see. All right, maybe this is where I want to be. Well, I'm trying to find it. Okay, here we go. All right. So again, when you are writing for this funding, and when you are implementing your program, you want to make sure that you're hitting all of these, the Safe Place service standards. These are what I referenced when I was talking about the implementation standards and the fact that DCS follows the NSP service standards, looking at not only the 4 components, but also eligibility requirements in order to get the state funding for Safe Place. So having that 24-hour, 365-day access, either through your shelter, through host homes, or some type of crisis intervention response, and then being able to house a young person and connect them to resources if it's needed. Being able to respond, that's that crisis intervention piece. You don't have to do that yourself, but you do have to have that in place, whether it's through your own agency or partnerships. The out-of-home placement, that's that residential component. Doing the outreach. We've talked about client confidentiality, training your staff. And one of the things that is, and I think I mentioned this, but I'll say it again in case I didn't, when you are doing the program, you need to make sure that you are training all of your new staff, so your agency, new staff, shelter staff, about Safe Place. So it should be part of your new hire orientation, regardless of what program that person is being hired into. You should have at least some type of Safe Place orientation as part of your inboarding for new staff coming in, so that they are aware of what's going on. This is going to be particularly important for your shelter staff or your clinical staff, so that they understand what's going on, that Safe Place is a resource and how that's going to work. So that happens at inboarding. And then you are doing training 2 times a year for your agency staff or your host home staff, just to kind of remind them of what the procedures are, how this all works. We have one agency that partners with, actually we have more than one agency. We have a couple of agencies that partner with someone else to do the residential component. And so that means training not only your agency staff, but also that other partner. So if you're partnering with another organization that's providing the shelter or the counseling services, or they're responding to the crisis intervention piece, then that means training them 2 times a year as well. And that can be done face-to-face, but you guys are more than welcome to do what I have really become, dependent upon, which is recording, doing a training, recording it, and then having that available as a resource later on. And so that also is an option, as long as you don't have to update information. In order to get the state funding, you have to be able to match the amount that you're getting from the state by 100%. That typically is not a problem, because the most that agencies get is around $7,000 to $8,000. Just that doesn't even come close to covering staff salary time. And so typically staff salary time is the kind of the match from your agency, and then be able to collect the data, and we'll talk about what that is. Just so that you guys know, you will get, when the RFP goes out, this typically goes to coordinators, or to your executive directors. I think I copy coordinators though as well, so that you understand what your program is going to be judged on when it comes time to determine funding. And it is all available in the RFP. You will write a provider narrative. This is basically providing information about your agency. You'll talk about partnerships and prevention services. I will say that unless something major has changed, this can be a copy-paste kind of thing, because not a lot changes between what you've done in the past and your partnerships. If you might want to update it, those types of things. Always look though to make sure that the RFP hasn't changed. We do what's called a bidders conference, and so when it's time for you guys, when it's time for the Safe Place program proposals to be written, we have a meeting specifically about how to write this grant proposal, and we'll cover all of this stuff, including any changes that happen. It's all pretty, I think, clearly spelled out about what we're looking for on those. Then you'll do a service narrative, and this is where you're going to talk about your total population. You're going to talk about kind of the need, so kind of those key need indicators for your kids, and then the number of kids that you plan to serve. And then you're going to talk about how you're going to implement the Safe Place program, and that includes, again, those 4 core components. You'll talk about meeting the eligibility requirements, and then you'll talk about things like your collaborative partnerships, trauma-informed care, positive youth development, and any evidence-based strategies that you use for Safe Place program. Motivational interviewing is one that's really good to use, because as you have those initial conversations with kids. And then a lot of agencies use the Ansel Casey, might just be Casey now, assessment to find out what's going on with the kids, and the appropriate type of resources to make those referrals to, and then doing the evaluation, tracking data, doing reports, and using that data to improve your program. So this is all spelled out. And then when we have independent, you have a budget that you have to do, and budget narrative, you have allowable cost and your budget form that you're strongly encouraged to use this form. And there's the narrative piece. You will do a logic model. And the logic model, you guys, I think I have a copy of this in here, but you'll kind of start from the back, start from your outcomes and then work backwards. That's always the best way to do a logic model. And then outcomes. And I will talk about, so I'll talk about outcomes a little bit later. What I want to get to is, there's some evidence-based stuff. Where is the scoring sheet? There it is. Okay. So you guys, I do the training for all of the agencies on how to write a good, safe place proposal. And I have a PowerPoint that I use, that I train with you guys, and I basically use almost the exact same PowerPoint when I train our reviewers. All of these are scored by independent reviewers. So usually someone in the someone who has a knowledge of the youth service field with no conflict of interest. So I make sure that there's no conflict of interest. Every RFP is graded by at least 3 different independent reviewers. Your score is an average of their score. And if there is a discrepancy of 10 or more between reviewers, then the whole review team meets, because it usually means that someone has missed something or someone is grading way too hard. And so we try to make sure that there's not a big discrepancy, and that score really is how your funding is determined, where you fall in range of everybody, like the average score. So this is where, when I talked about your outcomes being really, really important, it does impact your score by at least 10%. Yeah, 10%. So that's the outreach that you have. First of all, that your outreach goal is 25% of your total youth population. And then the second part of that is that you reach that goal, and then all of the other outcomes that I'll go over make up the next 10%. So this is just, you're paying attention. You know what this program is supposed to do, that you are using the database, that you're implementing the way that you're supposed to. You're making sure the program is running at its best capacity, so to speak. And so that's a kind of an average. That's 20 points. Your outcomes that we give you is worth 20 points of your total score that determines your funding. So that's pretty important. And then you might notice that this is pretty much a copy-paste job for the reviewers. You get the directions on what you're supposed to do, that gets copy-pasted into the actual score tool, and the reviewers are looking to see that you have demonstrated what you are asking, what you have been asked to do. They get, like I said, the same training so that it is as as clear and transparent as possible, and everybody's on the same page. You know how the scores are determined, you know how the funding is determined, and you know what you need to put in here in order to get your funding. That's it. And you got to do background. So these are all just attachments. I don't want to go through that. What I will go back to is the outcomes. Okay. All right. So I was actually at NSP when we developed some of these outcomes for the Indiana Safe Place programs. This has been a competitive funding process for quite a few years, and probably about, I don't know, I want to say maybe in 2009, 10, something like that. No, it would have been I don't know when it was. Maybe that was about right, 9, 10. I was contacted by one of the agencies. I was at NSP. I was contacted by one of the Indiana agencies, and she said, hey, we have to come up with outcomes. And I like to use the new database to come up with outcomes. And can you help, do you have any suggestions? And so basically this was the rough draft, and then we've revised it a little bit about outcomes for the Indiana Safe Place program. So the things that we want to see out of this. It has been modified. So when I left NSP and I came to IYSA, and we got the DCS funding and administration of the Safe Place program. These changed to be more, kind of, I guess we just updated them around that stuff. But what do we need to do? And you'll see that it kind of follows those 4 core components. So under crisis intervention, we want to make sure that kids have access to safety. That's one of the main things. That's the reason for the Safe Place program, is that they're immediately safe. And so we will look, and this tells you specifically, we want 80% of kids to be reporting immediate safety on those youth evaluations. And it tells you where on the database you can find that information. That 75% of kids say that Safe Place helped them start to resolve that problem, also from that youth evaluation piece. And then we want to connect them to resources so that they feel like there's been a positive change in their life. Both of that also comes from the youth evaluation, and then that they would actually use it if they needed it, and that comes from the pre-post. So you will see that having this information, the youth evaluation, your pre-post, actually helps you guys to determine these outcomes stuff, which then in turn impacts your funding. So it's important and kind of tied to this. And then I do reports for DCS on a quarterly basis, and report on a lot of these things so that they understand where that money is going and the impact that it's having. And my hope is that, and they've asked for more information, that we can kind of demonstrate that this is a really good program that they need to be funding at a higher level. But I have to have the data in order to make that argument. So this is where you guys it becomes really important for you guys to put that information in there. Outreach is that you are reaching 25% of that youth population. So that's going to be based upon your program goals. And then there is a range total report that shows and there's also a goal, progress toward goals report on the NSP database. I'll show you all that stuff that you can pull to show that. A 10% increase in youth knowledge. This says as allowable by the data, because if you have a program that has been around for a long time, so I'll just use Monroe County or Huntington County, that's been around for a really long time, kids know about it. And it's really hard to get a 10% increase when you've got 90% of the kids saying from or 92% of the kids from the get-go saying that they know how to get help because they understand that. So that's why that as the data allows language is there. And then that you're also going to be increasing community support, demonstrated either through an increase in volunteers or donors. And we always use the past funding cycle as your baseline, and a 10% increase in the number of adults receiving information. We want to make sure that your sites are able and ready to respond to kids. So we do look for 100% site completion on an annual basis, and that they say that they are ready, that they have all of the signage in place, and that they're all trained. This means that if you have if you're going out and you're doing a site check and you have a location that needs a new sign, that they need training, initially you're going to go into the database and you're going to say that they need this stuff as a reminder to you to go back and do that. Once you've done that training and gotten the materials to them, you can go back in and change that. And so this is based upon, yes, you've done, if they need training, you've done that training. I will say that if you have new sites within the year, it's going to show up as not being checked, but then that's where, we have conversations about percentages and sites being checked and all that good stuff. Okay. And then that 90% of the employees are ready to respond. And that can either be done through that site readiness report or through, there is a site employee quiz, but not everybody uses that. So typically the site readiness report is where that's going to come from. All right, that they have access to sites. And this is all on, so you have a map, you have the youth evaluation that says, yeah, it was easy to find. Yes, it was easy for me to access. And then you also, we want to see your sites participating and contributing to the program in some way other than hanging the sign. So that's where that site contribution letter is really important, and that they're kind of, and you track this stuff, and I'll show you how to do all of that stuff on the database as well. But, you know, they are given marketing material out, they are making in-kind or monetary donations, they're volunteering some way. And this doesn't have to be specific to your Safe Place program. If they are contributing to your agency as a Safe Place site, that counts as well. So a great example is if, you know, you have a pizza place and they are a Safe Place site, and once a month they donate free pizzas to all of your kids in the shelter, that counts as a site contribution. If you are doing an event and the Kroger donates food or cookies or whatever for your event, and it doesn't have to be even a Safe Place event. If it's an agency event, that counts as a site contribution. If they're handing out material, they're, you know, whatever, and I'll show you where to count that, because we are looking for 30% of your sites to contribute in some way. So like if your firefighters are doing outreach for you, that counts as a site contribution. That is time that you don't have to spend doing that. If your libraries are sharing material, that is site contribution, and sharing that information. So we want to do that. And then the program evaluation, that we are looking for 100% of timely submissions on the monthly report. They are due the 15th of the month past. So like for your April Safe Place monthly report is due on the 15th of May. So we're looking for that, and that you are meeting 90% of your yearly program goals, 100%. And we do, I don't have that pulled up. Once every 2 years, we do a program review for your agency. So you have 100% of mandatory site review, all of the mandatory, 100% of all the mandatory items, and then 75% of the best practices on that tool. And once or twice a year, you guys will do a progress report on these outcomes. And I usually send out, you know, kind of a reminder, hey, it's time for the progress report. So you actually go on the database and you'll pull all this information out. I typically send this blank copy of the outcomes, because really all you'll do is go in and you'll answer these questions, blah, blah, blah. I have a recorded webinar on how to use the database to fill this out. And I usually send that link out as well, so that you have all of that information and you get this to me. Usually we'll do a 6-month, so from July through December, and that is due usually the 31st of January. And then the next report is going to be due the 31st of July, because you'll do the fiscal year from July 1 to June 30th. And you'll have a month to get that done. Questions about the outcomes? And I'll show you on the database where all this stuff comes from.
Okay. So Robin,
Yes.
if we haven't done one of these and we're doing it, so it's the first one's due May 15th, you said, and it's May 5th.
So the monthly reports are due the 15th of the following month.
Okay.
We're going to look at the database, and we'll go through that. I also probably have an NSP database recorded webinar that I can get to you as well.
Can I speak with you after this? This is Amy Sturma. Can I speak with you after this?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right. So you guys want this now?
Yeah, and just to remind, this is the Safe Place outcomes. This is only due twice a year.
That's
So
correct.
I don't know. Right. So this is different than the monthly report that she's saying is due on the 15th. Is that?
Yeah, I don't have any of it, so I'm just behind on
Okay.
all. So, yay me.
So that you don't have to do yet. Just don't be stressed about that yet. That's not due yet. And if you cry, it's okay.
Okay.
Bridget. What am I crying? I am here to help, so
Well,
don't
my
ever.
anxiety level
Yeah,
just went from like my anxiety level just went from like a 2 to a 20. So that's pretty good because I'm like, oh shit, we're behind on all this paperwork and don't have any of this
No,
done.
no, you're fine. I heard that question. I was like, that was me 3 years ago. This is due in January and July. The outcomes that you're looking at right now. I'm sure when we go through the database, you'll see the monthly report that's due. That's much, much different and it's much simpler. So you don't have anything that's due in 10 days that like this. This is not due in 10 days.
Okay.
Thanks, Bridget.
I just heard that panic and I was like, yeah, you're doing just fine.
Oh, well, at least that's what you think. I'm glad I got you fooled because we haven't been doing anything, so we're way behind.
Reporting has been a struggle.
You'll get
Well, yeah,
there.
and that's something I didn't even know that I had to do. So, yeah.
Yeah, we can talk.
All right,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay. All right. So that's the outcome. So let's look at the database. Okay. I'll look at the database first or the website.
How do you get one of these logins?
All right. Brad
Well,
has a login. So
yeah, okay.
but I don't want you to use
Brad's.
Brad's. So NSP I cannot assign you a login to the NSP database. That has to come from National Safe Place. And so if you do not have, so you'll need a login. I think Kelly and Brooke, you guys are going to need logins. I don't know, Morgan, you and Lindsay have logins?
No, we don't.
Okay,
Or at least I don't think that we do.
so Holly can probably give you 2 logins. Andy can give Kelly and Brooke logins. So
Anathea will need one too. Or do we just have one per site?
no, I think you can have, if she's going to be reporting too, it'd be helpful for you both to have one. And either Brad or Annie should be able to give you guys they should be able to, but I'm not, so you'll have to see.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure on the NSP database, it works the same way as the other one. Is if you have admin status, then you can create logins for somebody. So let's just do this. So actually, I'm going to send everybody the database. And then I probably just lost all of my, shoot. All right, add. Sure.
That great Mig. So I asked Brad about it. He said, I actually don't know it. I was always using Brittany. So she's way out of it too.
Oh my gosh, that's old.
I know that. So that awkward moment where you're like, oh yeah, life is great. And then you realize, holy shit, I have all these other tasks that I didn't even know about that I'm way behind on. So this is really good.
Oh my God. Okay. I think is that everybody? I think so.
Is Anathea on there?
She is. Yeah.
Yeah, I see her. Right. Sorry.
No, that's fine. That's why we're doing this. All right. So if you don't have a login and no one at your agency can create a login for you, and you can direct them to me if they need to know how, then NSP can definitely do that for you. They should be able to. So and you should have, it should be individual. So if you've got more than one person, then you all should each have a login for that. you do have different kind of login statuses. See, I don't know. Okay, yeah, so I'm signed in as, let me see something. Okay, so, oh, operations is spelled wrong. I have admin status. See, I can. Okay, so if someone has an admin status, then they can create a new login account for someone. So that means that someone at your agency should be able to.
All right, so if I email Annie, Brittany, Brad, one of them can help me and I can just ask them to do that, right?
Yeah, should be able to.
All right, I'm emailing them right now.
Yeah, okay, so I'm gonna go back here. All right, so the NSP database, I have logins for all of you guys's agencies so that I can help you out. And NSP did that for me. So I have a different login and password for all of the, I have a cheat sheet because I can ever remember. The one I remember is Stopover because it's the first one. I actually probably could remember, and I know Columbus is too, just because I was just on there. But we're going to look at Stopovers. She's not on. Let's see. So we'll go to your agency. And on this agency page, so you guys are going to type in certain information. Now, this should be okay for everyone. This has been created. And so, you have your name with the phone number, the 24-hour phone number. That's super important that 24-hour phone number is correct, because this is going to be the number that is given on the text for help. So when kids use text for help and they get the location site and they get the number of the agency, it will be your agency and this 24-hour number. So you need to make sure that that's correct. It can be your 24-hour shelter number. It can be your on-call number, but you need to make sure that number is correct and that there's a live person who's going to be answering that phone. So this, you can see the shelter number is their emergency number for Stopover. They have an emergency use shelter, so it rings directly to the shelter. And then you can put your information in here. You just want to make sure that that's correct. And then here you see your presentation goals. All right, so they're going to reach 3,500 kids, and they're going to give out 3,500 cards. So I just will say, if that number should always, the card number and the presentation number should always be the same, just because you're going to give a card to every kid that you talk to. Right now, Amber is hiring for a new Safe Place coordinator, so she is the only staff person who is listed. When she hires someone, she can create that login and she can add them as a new staff. You just would hit the new staff and it's going to pull up a new page for her to do that. And then we have our site list. And this is the list that I was talking about when I said that the actual address needs to be correct. They need to be current, because this is what the NSP uses to give to the text for help, the company that does the text for help thing, to create all of those GPS addresses to give the kid the closest Safe Place site. So you need to make sure that that's correct. On your page, all of these things that are red are inactive sites. I wish that they would disappear. They would go away somewhere and it wouldn't take up all of this room, but this is not my database anymore. So that's up to NSP to handle. Yeah, I'm sure Philip could probably hide them some way, and Philip is our database person. Philip and I built this NSP database. We built the IYSA database and we built the IBAB database. So there'll be a lot of similarity about how all of these databases work, which I think is helpful if you're on more than one. So anything that's red is inactive. So if you had, let's say they had this Brookside Family Center that closed and they wanted to make them inactive, they would just edit and it takes them to this page. They can just click this and say, no, I'm not going to do that though, and then, if you have any notes for this particular agent or site, you can put those in there. Now, if, let's say, all of their their family community centers were going to start to do presentations to all of the youth that showed up, because you could train a staff to do presentations, then that would be where you put the site contributions in. So again, so you're on your agency page, you have your site list, you go to edit, and then you see this new contribution button. You would click that, and then you would put whatever the date is. So on the, let's say Friday, it wasn't money, but they did education awareness. And then you would hit, and so then you could put in safe place presentation to 50 youth. And then you would hit the submit new contribution, and then that would be saved. I'm not going to do that because I don't want to mess up any of their stuff. So I'm just going to reset that and return to site. But that's where you add your site contributions. You actually go to your agency page, you go to your list, you click on the actual site, and then there's that contribution button there, right? So this is their, like I said, this is their site. They have lots of sites. This is Marion and Hamilton County. So you see they have a bunch of Ys, and then they have a bunch of fire stations that close. So that's why they're all inactive. And that red, they've moved, some of them have moved. They have a ton of fire stations. The Noblesville all closed. So you just kind of see all this stuff. Marsh is closed, so they don't have any Marsh stores anymore. They do have all their libraries that are still open, that are safe play sites. And then down at the end here, you can see that they do Carmel, they do Indianapolis, and then they have the counties that they serve. They do not serve Tipton County. Yeah, I'm deleting that because they don't serve Tipton County. They were going to, and then, they lost their coordinator. And so anyway. So this is your, if you add sites, if you delete, if you make sites inactive, this is where you're going to keep track of all that stuff. This is where you put your pre-post in. And so one of the things that this database does, if you've been around so you can see they, started doing pre-post entries in 2015. If you wanted to change that, can I do that? I'm not going to be able to do that. This is not going to change that way. All right, I'll show you on the monthly reports. You can, they're going to have 1 million of these pre-post surveys. So you just hit new survey. And then this is going to pull up, this looks exactly like what our pre-post now looks like. So those 6 questions that we talked about on the pre-post, you have the pre, you have the post. Only do this if you have the answers to both. So if you have a pre and you don't have any post, you cannot put it in, or the other way around. You can only do this if you have the answers to both. You actually, if you have it, the age of the child, you can put the ethnicity in, the date of the pre and the post, you can change those, gender, and then you just hit this button and it tells you, you just select one of these. And you just go ahead and answer all of those, then you would hit the submit button. So you can see the pre-post, you just do it all at once. You don't have to worry about it. It's nice that it's there, and you answer one side on the pre, you answer the other side on the post, you hit submit new, and then you're going to add that. So they have, they have multiple. You can see, no, they don't have that many. That's weird. Well, they're not meeting that goal. Sorry. For some agencies, this is like, goes on and on and on. So that's the pre-post. The one that you're going to use the most is the monthly data report. Come on. All right. There we go. All right. So again, they've been, I don't know why. They should have more than 15. Oh, well. All right. So this database will do the oldest first, but you can kind of change this. If you hover over, and you see that it has the little hand icon and you hover over month and year and click it, then it's going to go most recent and then to the oldest. So that's just like a little trick if you're looking for different ones. They have, looks like they have their April in. So it's important if you can create a monthly report before it's due and then go back in and edit it and add to it. Don't start a new April report. Don't, you want to edit that and go in. And so you see, one of the things that will happen is that this report will automatically pull forward your number of sites. And so if you add a site, you will have to go in and manually change this number. Otherwise, it's just going to pull forward from what you had the last month. Same thing with mobile sites and your volunteers. So you only have to change these if that number has changed yourself. And then you're going to put in the number of kids who have received information at school or community events. This first line is your face-to-face presentations. This is when you go to the schools, when you go to the Boys and Girls Clubs or the after-school programs, or you're going to do the lunch presentations and you've talked to the kids. This is when you are there in person and you have talked to kids, and that's where you count this number. The second one, the school announcements or video PSAs, this is the one that we've talked about where you give the video to the school, they show it over their morning announcements, the teachers hand out the cards. That's where this goes. And though both of these numbers count toward your youth outreach presentation. So if you have questions about those distinctions later on, just let me know. So somebody, they just passed out cards without doing information. So they put that information in. This is not a good one because they don't have any kids. If you have kids who call and ask for resources, those are again always safe place calls, and so we'll track the number of calls. If you have kids who go to sites, then that number goes here. You can keep track of the number of materials that you've distributed. You can also do Facebook posts that you've made, the number of tweets that you've had, the number of fans, and then here we go. This is their 2,000 sites. They contacted the McKinney-Vento liaison, and the text for help went out when they were delivering school meals. So that's kind of cool. Again, kind of tracking. They have made some adjustments because of the COVID stuff, and they made sure material went out with all of the meals when they were distributed. So that's a pretty good idea. Let's go back and look at March and see if they have any kids. She's got cases. She does not have cases. Okay, that's all right. So here's the thing. When you have either numbers in this youth counseled by phone or number of youth helped at sites, you should always have cases down here that will track all that demographic information that I showed you on the client information sheet. So let's go back one more. Let's see if she's got any February kids in here. Nope. She doesn't have a coordinator, so okay. Well, there's one. It's not 4. All right. So the number of youth helped, again, she should have 4 cases down here. Actually, she should have 8, unless these were the same kids, which she should only count them one time if that's the case. So let me say that again. If you get a kid who calls in and they end up coming into your shelter, count that as a shelter and not up here. Only count the kid one time. So you can have kids who phone and they end up going to a site or coming into the shelter, but only count them one time. So this number by counseled by phone should only be phone contact only, no other contact by that. So if these are not the same kids, she really should have 8 cases down here instead of just 1. So let's look at this. So you have, let's look at this one kid that she does have in here. So you can add a case. You can see down here to add a case and put information in. And let's just do that so that we can see what that looks like. Let me, let's do this one. I'm going to look at this one because I want you to see the evaluation. All right. So she has any of the information that she has from that client information sheet, you're going to put in here, which she has most of it. She doesn't have where the site, but maybe they just walked into the shelter. If they do just come to your shelter, then you choose your shelter. Your shelter should always be a site so that you can track it that way. So I don't know where this kid came from. They were homeless. And you see all of this ethnicity, what happened after they went to the safe place, they went to the shelter. When they left the shelter, they went to the transitional living program. The problem was with parents. They stayed 2 weeks. They still had the exit plan. They still had problems, but they had a service plan in place. And then if you have the information about how the kid learned about the program, you do that. Now, they don't have a youth evaluation in here. Once you create this kind of case for the kids and they have filled out that youth evaluation piece, that's this, create evaluation. You click on that, and then you can just answer the questions. That makes sense? You have that information? We're not going to do it because there was no information, so we're just going to return to the case. So there are a couple of times that you have to go to either the agency to add the site contributions, or you have to go to the case to add the evaluation so that it's tied to this youth. That's what you want. You want this evaluation tied to this specific youth when you're adding cases. Okay. So Lakeisha, do you have a question?
Oh, that was an accident.
Okay. All right. All right. So let's go back to the monthly report. This is what is due the 15th of the following month. This, if you have state funding, is how you get paid. Because we being IYSA are able to run a report on the IYSA database that shows us what your monthly activity is from this database. So they talk to each other. You only have to enter it one time, and we're able to see what you've entered on the NSP database. So if we run the report because it's time to pay the monthly Safe Place funding, and you don't have a report created or you don't have any numbers in here, you're not going to get paid. So you have to have all this information in here in order to get paid. Now, if you don't have it, then we're going to reach out and say, hey, what's going on? Or sometimes Sareka will say, hey, I don't have any numbers from X, X, Y, and Z. And I'll go in and I'll look at, like I think for February she had, well, for April she didn't have any, was it April? She didn't have any, yeah, she didn't have any kids, but she made sure that she was getting information out to the cards out to the kids through the schools. She'll get paid for that because even though she doesn't have any numbers, I'll go in and I'll look to see if there's anything written in here. And so again, if you guys don't have any numbers, but you're still doing stuff. So for everyone, for May, even if you have 0 numbers, you have sat through this new coordinator training, and you would type in down here, attended new coordinator training May 5th, 9 to, I don't know, 4, whatever time we get done. And then when Sareka runs the report, she says, hey, I don't have any activity for May. And I go in and you have this in, I can say, oh, well, they may not have done outreach. They may not have had any kids, but they still did something and you still will get paid. Does that make sense? Yeah. Can't tell if people are shaking their heads or not. I'm not going to save that though. Anytime you do this though, always hit the submit edit button. The submit edit button is probably the most important button on this database because nothing that you enter will be saved unless you hit the submit edit button. So that's important. Okay, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go back here. All right. What is this? I don't know. This is new. I have no idea what this is. Do you guys know what this is?
No, that was the thing that we talked about, I think, at our last quarterly that we just saw it and we have no explanation for what it is used for.
Site pertinent.
It just popped
Oh.
up on the database.
I think I know what this is. I think this is if we have some organizations that have sites who are doing other stuff and they want to report it separately instead of getting it back. I think that's what this is. So we don't know. Don't worry about it. Just report all the stuff on the monthly report. All right. Site checks. Woohoo. All right. Oh, they have no site checks for 2019. Oh my God. This is not the right agency to use as an example. But she struggled. She lost her coordinator and she lost some data. So you know that's what I'm telling you. That's what's going on here. All right. So you will notice. Yeah. Go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, I guess something was going on with my microphone. I guess, like I've been trying to do our Facebook page now. So even though I'm not out, talking to the youth in person, I could put Facebook page in the database, right?
Yep. Yeah. So you would going back to the monthly report.
Uh-huh.
Times you did posts, you'll put that there. So if you
Okay.
did that's where you're going to do that.
Okay. Thank you.
And again, that does show up on the report that we pull for billing too.
Okay.
So those are going to be important as well. All right. Site checks. All right. So you will notice that you have one per year. All right. You will put these things in multiple times in the year, but you still only want one per year. So, 2018, whatever, is the last one that she had. So if I click on 2018, then you see that so they did site checks on the 17th, December. They did it on the 15th. They did a number on so now we have the 10th, the 5th, the 4th. They did a lot of it toward the end of the year, making sure that they were getting done. All of these different dates that they actually went out and did site checks. Now, they did site checks at least some site checks every month. They have over 3, some of them are mobile, but they have a lot of sites. And so something like a big organization with a lot of sites, you may do site checks periodically throughout the year. You may have one big kind of, like I said, volunteer thing where they go out and do the site checks and you put them in. But you are going to only have one entry for each year. And then every time you go in and to enter a site check, then you're going to go into that same year. And that's so that when I show you the report page, it's pulling all from one place. If you had multiple years, it's not going to pull from all of those. So it's just kind of the way the database talks to itself. So if you wanted to add one, you just go new site check. You may have to change the date. It's going to default to the day that you are doing it. So you'll probably have to change the date because you're not likely going to put those in the same day that you do this. You get a drop-down list of all of your own sites. So these are all the sites for Stopover in Indianapolis and Hamilton County, Indianapolis, Marion County, and Hamilton County. You don't have to scroll all the way through. If you were up here and you wanted to say, okay, let's just say it was the fire station, FIR, and well, then I'm going to have to, I guess it's not, they have IFD. Or it was the YMCA, you can start typing YMCA and you see it jumps. And so it will jump to where you start to type and you don't have to scroll all the way down. which is kind of cool. You will want to put who you talk to. You'll want to put, so this sex offender registry, that is that you have checked this for them. So if you've checked it, then you hit yes, and then you select no findings, or if there were findings, then you probably are going to have to type in some things, but most of the time it's no findings. And then the site check status. If you go and you go to Safe Place site, they have their signage up, everything's in good order, all of the staff know what to do, and they don't need any additional follow-up, then all you have to do is put all is good. And then that's it. If, however, they need signs or they need training, and you hit the follow-up needed, and then it's going to allow you to choose what needs to happen. Okay, so were the employees informed? No, the employees were not informed. And then I'm going to write, you know, they needed training, and training was scheduled for whatever it was. You do have to put this in individually for each of those sites that you have. You wouldn't necessarily, once you're done with all of this, you would hit submit. You wouldn't necessarily have to go back to the page. You can just add a new site, and then it's going to allow you to continue to add those on there. But you do have to do this manually for each of your sites that you have to do that. Again, you can create logins that are data entry only, so someone who can go in and only put in your data, and they won't be able to change anything. So you can have somebody else do this. Volunteers, you can have, you know, if you have youth volunteers that you trust to put this stuff in there, you can do that. You can have overnight staff, or, you know, other staff that, you know, has extra time to do this. When I was at NSP, I've said this for, you know, for as long as I've had to work with coordinators, is this is not how I want you guys spending your time. The data has to be in there, that is true. But if you have someone else who can do this, then please, by all means, take advantage of that, because I would much rather you be out talking to kids than sitting and putting data in. Now, the data has to be in, but you know, you can be smart about who's doing all of this entry stuff for you. I'm going to reset this because I'm not going to save anything. All right. One thing that is there, but not a lot of, I guess we have a lot of Indiana programs that use it, is this presentation. Although I'm not sure, I think the report is still there. So you can see John, let's see, we go, date. Oh, it's not going to change. Some of them change and some of them don't. Oh yeah, so he used this quite regularly. And it just allows you to track where you're doing the presentation, the type of group it was, there's the age group that it is. And so it just gives you more specific information about your presentations. This is not required. And I don't pull a report on any of this stuff, so this is for your information only. You also can enter site quizzes manually. So if you go in, and again, this is not required, but if you have, you're doing training for sites and you give the site quiz, or they have their employees watch the quiz and do the site quiz pencil paper instead of online, I would encourage you to do it online, not pencil paper, but you can enter those here as well, not required. The report page, this is where you should live. Monthly reports in the report page. All right. So what's interesting is, let me see. I don't know if it's going to let me look at a report, just because I think the last database I was on was the IYSA one, but let's see. If you want to know where all of the other safe places are in the United States, click on Agency Directory. Yeah, that's what I thought. All right. So how many of you guys use the IYSA database and the Safe Place database? Okay. In that case, because these databases are created and hosted by the same person, sometimes it catches the passwords for the other databases, and you get this error message. So when you get this error message and you can't get on there, permission granted, so it's insufficient, that means it's capturing basically it's capturing the login information from one of my other databases. So you have to, I can't say this. Dang it. You have to clear your history. It's going to look different depending on which browser you're on. But if you clear your history, and then try, so now it's going to ask me for the password. For the report page, the username and the password is different than your login to get to the database. So for the report page, it is in SP user. Password is the same thing in SP user. I'm going to hit OK. And now it is going to let me look at the report, and I can see all of the agencies that are safe place. Now, if you don't want to scroll through 25 pages, click this little icon. You can select a PDF, open it as a PDF, and now I get a full listing of all of the agencies.
The NSP user, is that capital N or anything, or is there
Nope.
anything capitalized? Just
All
NSP user?
lowercase. Yeah, all lowercase, no space. All right. So that's going to be the case for, all right. Now that I have been on a report, with this one, I can go back here, and now I can go anywhere and look at any of these reports, and it's not going to prompt me. It will prompt you the first time, and then you should be able to just kind of go everywhere that you want to. A report that you're probably going to use a lot is the range total report, because the range total is going to give you the number of kids that you've talked to, the number of kids that have been helped. So let's just say, let's go back to 7. I don't want to use it. I want to go to 19 to now. And I can look at this for my agency. I can look at all of the Indiana agencies. I can look at anybody's, really, which is odd that you can do that for this database, but you can. But let's say I just want to look at stopover. So I'm gonna look at my stuff. So you do have to scroll down here on this one and find your agency, stopover. Now, there's only one stopover, so I don't have to select the state. I can just select all, because there's only one stopover, and view the report, and it's still only going to give me my information for stopover. Yeah, so they've done, this many presentations, and they've had this many calls and that many kids. So this is going to be one of those reports that you use for your outcomes. If you want to track where you are in terms of goals, that's this goal tracker report. Again, you're going to have to put, all right, let's just look at 19. All right, 12/31/2000. Yeah, 19. Again, I want just stop over. That's just really weird that you can look at anybody's. In Indiana, view report. All right. So, they lost their coordinator, and, before they got all of this stuff done, so you can kind of see what their goal was, where they were, and then what they needed left to do, how many cards they passed out, all that good stuff. You guys are going to use the
What was that the one that you just saw that report from? What number was that one?
16 goal trackers.
Okay.
For the outcomes, you guys are also going to use this breakdown of site readiness.
Is there like a cheat sheet of what numbers you need to be doing?
Well, that's if you will recall on that outcome report, the outcomes that I showed you, it does say which report to use for that.
Okay.
So it will tell you, okay, you're going to go to the database, you're going to look at this, whatever. And we know that let's go back to 18 because we know that they were not on track for, they didn't have any for 19, so nothing's going to show up. 18. Again, Indiana. And view report. Okay. And now see, they had 100% of their sites checked with all of the signs in place, all of their employees who needed training. They actually provided 3 trainings. They did sex offender registry checks for 158 instead of 159, so one of those didn't count. But you can see this if you, who doesn't have all of their site checks done for this? Anyone volunteer for let me look at this for you guys, for you?
Basher.
Okay, thanks. I know what yours is.
I have why too, because we don't know any difference.
Crisis Center, you can.
Okay.
Basher is probably going to be 0 about 0 about 0.
Well, which is why I was like, maybe have you done any, Lakeisha, have you guys done site checks?
I've been to a couple. I just didn't know I had to do that. Like,
I've done them, but I don't think I've logged them. We just started back doing them this month. We've been kind of like calling and then going by to look for the sign. But I don't think, looking at this, I know I haven't logged anything.
Bridget, have you done site checks this year? Have you done any?
No, we haven't done ours yet. I'm planning to cram it in June, hopefully when everything opens. Some of it'll be drive-by stuff. But you can look at any
Robin,
nice one.
What's that?
Robin, I think
I've done a
that
couple.
he
Okay. All right. So we'll look at Huntington then. I just want to show you what it looks like when some are done and some are not. So that's why I was looking for someone who had some in there, but not everybody's.
yeah, because I've done a couple. I just didn't realize I needed to go in here and do that.
Okay.
Same
Yeah.
with me.
And I will say that stuff that I sent out today in the email, there's a site check. That's what there's the checklist, but then there's like the questionnaire document, and I have the descriptions in there, but that's what helps you record all this stuff until you can get back to enter it. So at least you have reminders for all of this stuff.
Okay.
So you don't have to just kind of remember it and then go back in there. You'll actually have a paper with the answers on it.
Cool. Thanks, Bridget.
All right. So, okay. Oh, wait a minute. You have more than 9 sites, don't you?
Yeah, I have 154.
Okay, this is weird. Why is it doing this? Because I should get, yeah, this is not reporting right. Why is this doing this? Oh, see, this is not a database that I monitor because it's not mine. All right. Can I look at Shannon or Shayna? Can I look at yours for 19?
Yeah.
Why are there 2 youth connections?
Yeah, I don't know why.
That's
So the other day when Dawn was leaving and setting it up, we all of a sudden noticed that there's this weird youth connections that's like in Missouri.
Ah, that's why. So, okay. Okay. So now it's going to be really important that we pick Indiana.
Yeah.
The right one.
Yeah.
Well,
I know. I was like, who are these people. I don't even know who these people are.
I'm, not surprised. That's a, pretty common name. Okay, so now let's see what happens here. That really should not have happened. I know you guys didn't have, so this is still not doing it right. Okay, well, I'll need to let them know that their site check readiness report is not working correctly, because what you should get is not 100%, whatever that percentage was, and then you get a list of the sites that still need to be checked. So you'll see here the training needed but not performed, and so you have that. If you say that training has to happen and you haven't gone back and said that you did training, it will give you that list. I wonder if they've changed this. No. Yeah. Okay, so it's just not working. Oh, you silly thing. All right. So I'll have to let them know that that's not working correctly, because what you should get is a list of the sites that you've checked with the correct percentage on there, and then a list of all of the sites that you still need to check for the year. So that's not working. It's not working right. I'm not sure what they've done.
Robin, if you look at one of mine in YSB Monroe, because we had some sites that I still was working with, my Greene County stuff, it will look a little different if you wanted example. I just thought about that.
For 20?
19 would be, okay. Yeah, because we had trouble. We don't want to get rid of Greene County schools, but they've been really hard to get on board to really get up to par, and they keep having administration changes. So I start working with one person and then they leave. So some of them got weird. That doesn't even make sense.
This is not right.
No, that's not even close to right.
All right. Maybe it's, I don't know what it's doing. Maybe it's because I'm on stopover, and even though it lets me do this, it's not pulling them correctly. That could be the case. So that totally could be the case, but still, even though if I back in and do stopover.
The rest of my then I can get on the switch.
Yeah.
So once I write about Rosie Revere, I can.
It's a wonderful, wonderful motivator. All right, I'm going to look at stopover. See, okay, so this says 0 that's correct for them, but I still don't get the list that tells me what I need to do. So maybe this works differently. And Bridget's saying this looks differently for her. If you guys have trouble with this, let me know, and then I'll follow up with them. I'll also get on like different, use my different passwords to see if that helps too. It could be that, but anyway, there you go. And then you'll use, I do want to show you this like weird trick for the pre-post summaries. Again, I don't know if this is going to work. You know what, Bridget, do you mind? Are you on the database?
I'm not, but I can get on there real quickly.
Because maybe if I let you sign in and share that you share your screen, you can show them how it looks different.
Okay, I'm logging in real quick right now.
Okay, I just signed. I mean, it's signing in with stopover, but them not having everything in there is going to make it kind of hard to see. I don't know if they have any. If I go back to, let's just go back to 18.
I just got on mine also, and it's.
We'll see what we see. If I go all the way back. Okay, so they have some in here, not a lot. And you'll see the pre's are going to be here. Then you see so it's pre-post, pre-post, pre-post. And when you scroll down on here, you can kind of see the differences. It shows you what the changes are going to be. This one is the one that's off. So 4 is, what is 4? Jane's not on. She had all of those questions memorized. I wonder if that's I don't remember what 4 is. Somebody help me out. Remember what question number 4 is on the pre-post?
I think it's how likely are you to use safe place?
How likely are do you use? Is that what it is? Actually, we'll just do this. And you'll see this always comes in a negative number. And that's because this is reported backwards. So instead of seeing it, it's just how it was encoded into the database. So this actually is a change and it is an increase for using the program. So 1 is they really would use the program, and 2 is maybe they wouldn't use the program. And so even though this is a negative number, this still is an increase in the number of kids who would use the program. And that's just one of those things that you just have to know is an idiosyncrasy about this database. It all has to do with the way the numbers are coded, and it just is kind of backwards, but it is really an increase. So understand that you're going to use this report when you're doing the outcomes, and then the other report that you're going to use doing the outcomes is the evaluation averages. So if you go there, and again, I'm just going to go, I'll just use 18 to now, and I'm going to do all of the agencies in Indiana, and then you can see what this looks like. Not just Stopover. We have quite a few evaluation numbers in here, so I'm going to jump to the end and go back 1 page. And it gives me, so this is what you're going to look at down here. You're going to look for all of these totals. So these are really low. That's interesting. Usually these numbers are like in the 80s and the 90s for the youth evaluation. So there's a lot of low numbers here. It goes up to, it does go up to 4. All right, but that's what you're going to look for are these these percentages down here at the bottom when you're looking for the evaluations and reporting what that is. So that's, if I don't do, oh, let's look at Monroe County. All right, and go 1 page over. These numbers are low for you too.
Well, part of that, do you remember a few years ago we had that issue where when a kid didn't answer, it was negatively impacting the data?
He was supposed to have changed that.
Well, but that includes that year. But that was still an issue. And then I realized too, so when I pulled my report for site checks, what it's counting right now, even though it was last year, it's still only pulling for the sites that are active right now. And since I went in and made all of my sites inactive during COVID, it's only pulling the ones that are active as currently, even for a past year, which is a little weird, but that's what it's doing because I have 26 sites open. So,
well, and what's difficult is that there's just really nobody at NSP who is tracking all of this stuff like this to be on and to see if things look funky and maybe it's reporting a little bit odd or whatever. But Bridget, it looks like it is still pulling, those negative numbers. Even when
it did. Yeah, because even when I reported for you for the outcomes report, they weren't that low. Because my outcomes report looks different, so I'm not sure what's happening. Because I know the ones that are always low, but I'm not sure what's happening because I would have noticed that in an outcomes report.
Yeah. Cameron, you were going to say something?
Sometimes I have to just manually count things. Like if it was above a 1 or a 4, not the pre and post, because that would be a lot, but like for my evaluations, because that 0 does throw off the like the average. You just have to count them and then say what is the percentage of this many surveys if this answers this. So old school math
Yep,
sometimes.
I have definitely done that.
You shouldn't have to do that. So if you guys are noticing this stuff, shoot me an email, and then I'll email NSP and say, hey, our programs are noticing that numbers are off and it's pulling incorrectly. And hopefully they'll have Philip take a look at that stuff.
And they
Because-
must have just done an update. So, because since we saw that site partner, whatever got added, that was just earlier this year. So they have done some updates, but didn't tell anybody. So I don't know what all they updated either and how they pull stuff. Because they did just do a database training, and I was going to ask, but they didn't really get into anything beyond the really basic functioning.
Right. All right. Well, so if you guys are looking and this stuff is, so what's a 0? 0 is no answer?
Usually, yeah.
Okay. And it is calculated. It's pulling those.
Mm-hmm.
Although, yeah, it does look like it's pulling those because you've got some 3s and some 4s in here, and that number should be higher than 2.19. You've got a lot of 2s, but you still have enough that should pull that higher than 219 if it's not pulling those 0s. So if you guys are getting in here and you're looking at this and going, okay, so because it's supposed to be like 80% or something like that, and here it says 44, and you go, oh crap. It's because of this stuff. So bring that to my attention and I'll let them know. And I wrote a couple of notes so I can follow up with them about that kind of stuff. I would say with the report page, just get on here and play around with this and see what they do. You're not, I don't think, going to hurt anything to actually get in and run reports, and you're only going to get familiar with it if you are on here and use this and, kind of recognize what's wrong or what's not wrong. And then always, feel free to email me and let me know if you have any questions about the database, because I am pretty familiar with this. There were like maybe, I don't know, 5 reports when I came on. So I really did help build this database when I was at NSP. They have made some changes since, but I think I can still walk you through it a little bit better. All right, so let's look at, yes, looky there. All right, this is the website. This is where I'm going to probably really draw on Cameron and Carly and Bridget, because they have also made changes here, which makes it a little bit harder to find. But this is the NSP home site. This is definitely where you'll have to contact NSP and get a member login for the website, because there are going to be things that you will need as a coordinator that you cannot get to from this public facing page. But I will point out that if you go to the support center and go to Safe Place Sites, it gives you information. Where are the trainings? Here we go. So this is where you will find the training links for your Safe Place sites so that you can give this to them. They can use this for new employee orientation, and it actually is like an 8 or so minute video. And then once you watch the video, there is a link to a quiz. It's like a 4 or 5 question quiz that actually takes them back to the NSP database and captures the answers there. And then you can pull reports from there. We have the training video, the regular, just general Safe Place site training video. This is what the procedure sheet looks like here. This is the fire station training video, which is a little bit different. So if you have fire departments on, you can use that. And then there are Spanish versions of just the overall training site, not for the fire departments, but that's okay. I don't know what this additional site training video is, but you can direct your sites to this page so that they can use these videos to train their new employees as they come on. If you go to the support for agencies, this is going to actually, so you can actually log into the database from here. I'm going to go back. You can log into the web store from here to order your outreach materials. This is also, you'll have to get the login information for the web store from NSP. They have a vendor, oh. Okay. Or you can go to, member login. All right. Oh, poo. Let's just see if this works. There we go. Yay, it worked. So, all right. So this is the, again, the Agency Support Center, where you're going to be able to get more information. Now that I'm logged in, kind of basic information. Here's text for helps information. You can actually get some material for text for help. But let's go to this support center and go to, that's weird because it didn't look, agencies. Now let's see if it's going to work since I'm logged in. Shoot. Can anyone else get on this?
About a month ago, I tried to get onto it and it was doing the same thing. I just thought it was like the website, like the web browser I was using, but I never got it to work.
Let's try this link. Oh, look, I don't know, it worked. All right. So this tells you what you can order, and then let's try to log in. Nope. All right, so none of their links for the web store are working, but that would be where you would order any of this material. So you can order t-shirt, they have t-shirts, they have all of your, if you wanted to leave information with your Safe Place sites, you can do the pocket floaters with the flyers that go in there. You can order, if you need a presentation video, you can order that for your presentations. Any of your signs, thank you cards, they have promotional items, they have all of the site material, and that's this, you know, the decals, the 14-inch, the signs, the if closed. These are called on-demand printing because they are individualized with your agency information on there. If you have been on, and they should already, you only have to enter it once, and so if you're not a new, and none of you guys are new agencies, they should have all of your information for your agency to be able to do that. Now, it's not working. Don't know why it's not working. I will let them know it's not working. We do have permission from NSP to work with a vendor out of Indianapolis called Brainstorm. And so, let's see. This is, so Brainstorm also can do the procedure sheets, they can do the if closed, they can do the stickers that go on the buses, the small ones, they can do the big 14-inch sticker that goes on windows. What they call business cards are the student information cards. And typically speaking, and I haven't compared prices in the last year, but typically speaking, we get a better deal with Brainstorm than what we do if you go through the NSP web store. Now, that's because if we go through the NSP web store, those prices are marked up just a little bit, and that extra money goes to support National Safe Place. So that's part of the difference. So it just depends upon what you want to spend. In the past, Brainstorm's material has been of better quality. It lasts longer. What you cannot get from Brainstorm is the aluminum sign. So you cannot get that big 2x2 aluminum sign. You do have to get that from National Safe Place. And these are the only things that we can, that we have permission from NSP to do through Brainstorm. They didn't want to give, because they do get a small commission on some of their other stuff, they didn't want us to do too much through Brainstorm. That information is in a, oops, let's see, where is that? Safe Place orders. All right, so this is the Brainstorm that they set this up for us quite a while ago, so 4 years ago, about how they so we have our own Indiana Safe Place portal with materials. Here's the link, the username and the password, and then once you're there, it kind of tells you where to go. I'm going to forward this so that you guys all have this. Coordinators, take Jim off, take Don off, add Shayna. Oops. Not Jamisha, Jamie. Okay. Basher, Morgan, Brooke, Kelly, oops, Kelly, and Lindsay. I think that's everybody. And this is Brainstorm. All right. And then you have this link to get in there and to see what there is there. All right, so it's Safe Place SP. So let's just look, make sure this. All right, portal. Yeah, where's my login part? Portal login. Welcome to your portal. Okay. And it was Safe Place, and it was SP 2016. All right. I think it's because this was an initial one, and then you guys all get individual usernames and logins. So that initial one probably doesn't work anymore. Did I type it in right? Safe Place SP 2016. Whoops. I don't know where to go. Let's try it one more time. That's what I put in, SP 2016. There we go. I must have typed it in wrong. Okay. So, place a new order, let's see. This is gonna look, once you guys get in here, this is gonna look a little bit different for you guys. So you can see that's a Safe Place. I don't have a thing set up, so you're not gonna be able to see this because I don't have something set up, but let's look at the library, see if we've got Safe Place. Okay, here we go. So you can order the 6-inch. So this is the tiny decal that will go on your buses. That's what it's for, the buses. You can also put it on, if you have a site that's open 24 hours and they have multiple entries, you can use it for their other door entries for that. The 14-inch is the big one that's going to go in the window if they don't want to hang the big 2-foot sign. Here's our if closed call decal that has text information on there. And so it will be actually your number, so it is personalized. These are, they call the business cards, that's the student outreach cards. So it looks like this is in here for stopover, but your information will be there as well. Again, if you sign in under your stuff, then it's going to be specific to your agency with your agency address and your agency phone number. I am talking with them. So this actually, we have updated the both the if closed and the student cards because this number has changed. The if closed or the text for help number has changed, and this is not the new number. But they do have it updated. You might want to check, double check to make sure. This is the procedure sheet that you can get. It's probably the most expensive thing that's on here, laminated or not laminated. And we can do pencils. So you guys have all of that stuff. I'm talking with them about creating student cards, two-sided student cards, one side being English and the other side being Spanish. And so they're going to get me some quotes on that. How many of you guys would be interested if we had that available? Okay, Cameron would be interested. Carly. I know that Crisis Center was also interested, or not Crisis Center, Foundation for Youth, because that's where that came from. All right, that idea came from conversation with Foundation for Youth. So I'll get that information out once we have that. But again, this is typically going to be a little bit cheaper. The quality is going to be better. What is the difference is that, you know, ooh. All right. The difference is that there's no kickback to NSP. And I don't mean kickback in a good way. The part of the proceeds from the other one goes back to National Safe Place. So there's Brainstorm. I have to let them know so has anyone ordered from Impressions within the last month and had it work? So it did work for you, Cameron?
Yeah, it worked for me. Yeah, I think it was in April. I just looked because I tried to look for the link myself because I was like, I thought we could still order from there, but the link is still broken. But last time I ordered, it worked. So I don't know if that helps anything.
Okay, but it is broken for you now again?
Yeah, I just tried the link just now. Yeah.
All right. So I'll let them know that that didn't work when we were on here. So, all right. So that's ordering. We've looked at the database. I would encourage you to look through the website just to see what you can see. Again, you will have to have NSP give you a login for the support center for their database. Let's see, resources. Where is the operations manual? Oh, that's not what I want. You go away. All right. So now that I've logged in, if I go to resources, that's the wrong one. Support center, agency, resources for licensed agencies. Okay, here we go. Well, there's another database link. Let's see if this one works. Or web store link. Oh, this one's gonna work. I don't remember what my password is. Yeah, I have no idea. Wait a minute, maybe I do. Nope. All right, never mind. Well, this link worked. So did you guys all see where I got to that? So if you get on, you're signed in under the member login, go to the support center, licensed agencies, and then I went to licensed agencies, and then I went to resource for licensed agencies. That's this page. So you now can get to the web store. This link did work from here. So it doesn't work from anywhere else, but it does work from here. They have these new COVID signs. So, yeah, I don't know that that's available if you wanted. There also here's the Safe Place videos. If you need the logo with all of the specifications, that's there as well. Here's the operations manual. Maybe. Maybe not. I know that they were working on updating that. Huh. All right, so that doesn't work. Well, shoot. All right. Really?
I'll just throw out, NSP's had a lot of staff changes lately, so if anybody's getting scared about some of the things that we need to obviously let them know, they're just, I think, figuring some things out now that they've got a lot of new people on their staff. We usually don't have this many things come up.
No. They do have a lot. So here's the pre-post test protocol. You guys recall I had an old one up there. This is the new one with the new questions and answers. So they do have some of these links work. I don't know why the operations manual doesn't work though. Oh, look, there we go. Nope, that's client information page. Oh well. That's not what I clicked. But that's what it's taking me to. Why? All right. Yeah, this should work. Oh well. Anyway, if you are, yeah. So if you get on here, you're trying to find something, it's not working. Just so I guess everyone have Michelle's email. She goes. Deborah's the email, but she goes by Michelle. I'll make sure you have NSP contact information then for Michelle and for Tammy, because those are the people to get a hold of now at National Safe Place with Susan kind of gone. So, you know, get around here, look and see what you've got. If you don't have a login, so let me just see how many of you guys.
Hey, Robin.
Log in.
Sorry. I didn't realize Susan left. I thought it was Sherry. Did Susan leave as well?
She is, they laid her off.
Okay.
Yeah. So Sherry's gone. And Susan, I guess, is temporarily gone. I'm not really sure.
Okay.
So there are a number of folks who are going to need this kind of login information. So Yvonne, do you have login information for all this stuff, or is Sheila still doing all this stuff? You do have login information? But Amy, you do not. She's on the phone. And I'm pretty sure Kelly, you guys don't. Lindsay?
Sorry, I just got a call from the doctor's office. I'll be right back.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. Lindsay, how about you and Morgan? You guys have login information for this stuff?
No, I don't think that we really have anything. I don't know. I really don't know what Holly's been doing with all of it.
Okay. All right. So number of
Yeah,
you
she
guys.
just kind of keeps sending me information and like, hey, go to this webinar. Hey, read this, read that. So that's kind of what she's been doing for me.
Okay. All right. So I think getting you guys all of this information so that you can get in here, you can see what's available. They do have also for, you go to licensed agencies, they have recorded webinars, not a lot, but they do have some. So they do have the database. This was fairly new, and in fact, I participated in part of that. So they have that. They have the summer outreach, which is a little bit old, but that's fine. They have checks. There used to be a whole bunch more on here, but they changed their vendor, and I think they lost access to a lot of the recorded webinars that we did when I was there at NSP.
All right, Robin, sorry, what were you asking me? My doctor's office called me, so then I had to answer.
So you don't have login for this page, the member login page or the store?
No.
Okay.
And then Annie did just send me though Brittany's login information.
Okay.
And so her username and her password. So I don't know where I go then to add us in.
Okay, so if you go to the database, that's not where I want to be. You go to the NSP database. So use her stuff to log in. And then I'll just show you again, really.
This nsp.com or what?
No, I sent the link out.
Oh, okay.
I did send you the link to the database. It's you can get to it but you have to have a login here to get to it. So that's not going to work. All right, let me just do this then. National Safe Place. You use her stuff to go ahead and log in. Oops, that's what I want. Once you're in, go to login accounts. And then you do new account. And then you can add that stuff. So for if you guys are both going to be in and adding sites or whatever, then you want to select admin as the status.
Okay.
And then when you do the password, make sure that it is at least 8 characters, upper, lowercase, number, special character to be safe.
Okay.
And then you can, for you and Thea, and it looks like Cameron and Carly have to go.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Okay.
What's my role then?
What's that?
What would my role be?
Okay. Your role is going to be, so who's the coordinator?
Eventually Anathea, but I think I am right now.
So you can make yourself the coordinator and you can make her a assistant coordinator.
Okay.
You can, I mean, it's just really you guys type this in, so it's just whatever you want to put in there. The status is what's going to be important. And then once you get that in, then delete Brittany's login account.
Okay.
To be safe.
That is.
All right. Shana, do you have access to this?
Yep.
Okay. Under your name?
Yep. Dawn set it up all before she left.
Good for her.
Yep.
All right. So again, Kelly, Andy can set this up for you and Brooke. Holly can set this up for Lindsay and Morgan. Lakeisha, you're on. So you should be good to go. Chris, are you on? Did you get changed over? She might have gone already. No, she's still there.
I'm here.
Did you get a new login?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. All right. So you guys, if you have, questions, let me know around this stuff. And I think at this point, I don't know what you want, so you can just go away right now. Let's see, so we showed you Brainstorm. Yeah, I've gone through all of this stuff. So that is all that I have for now. Let me say that I know that it is a lot of information that I have given you in a very short period of time. It is completely natural to feel overwhelmed, to feel like, oh my God, this is a lot. How am I going to do this? But it is manageable. And I am here to help you in whatever way that you need. I have tried to be as thorough as possible, but there is so much that goes into this program that I am sure that even with experienced coordinators on here, we have forgotten to say. So don't hesitate to ask questions. Feel free to reply all to everyone. If you need additional material or you have other questions, we are a really good group of, I think, support for one another. And everybody is very open to sharing and to helping through difficulties. We've had people who've been doing this for, like Jane's been doing this for over 30 years. She left, but then came back. We have just lots of different levels of experience, and there's no reason for you to struggle or to try to recreate something on your own. Ask first. Somebody has it somewhere. And if not, then we create it and everybody will have it then. But, feel free to ask those questions, to email, to feel like it is a lot, because it is, and look for ways to kind of share the load, if at all possible, within your organization, and know that we're always here. So I'll open it up for questions. You guys, new coordinator, you guys have been pretty quiet. I've been giving you a lot of information, so now's the time to ask those questions if you have any.
So I think for, we're taking this on from the place of being virtual at this point in time. And I know Andy and Brooke has met, but I'm almost feeling like we might need maybe one more time around with all of this, because there's a lot of stuff that we can't see. And Brooke and I are going back and forth and emailing. So we have our list of questions, and, we'll address them with Andy. But it might be helpful if there's something else like this coming up in the future, or if maybe some of the others that are new on here find it helpful to maybe go through this, or at least some of the parts. That would be great.
Okay. So I mentioned the quarterly meetings. This is basically this. We've had a number of folks on. We'll probably do a check-in with everybody, since not all of the coordinators were on here. That's going to be another opportunity for resources and help. And then I have recorded this. So once those recordings get converted, and I have the links, I'll send this out to everybody, so you guys have this as a kind of reference. Not that you want to sit through, another 6 hours of this, but you can fast forward and go, okay, that was this part or whatever. So you will have that as well. But yeah, I think it's it is, the quarterly meetings are places really that are going to be important to make sure that you come, they are mandatory if you have the funding. And it's just a great opportunity for those additional resources and checking in. Other questions, comments?
What did you say about site contributions? Like, did you say like Papa John's contributed to Blue River Services? They gave us some pizzas, and our youth shelter is a safe place site.
Uh-huh.
Does that count?
Absolutely.
Okay, because Papa John's isn't a safe place site.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I guess I kind of got confused there. So Papa John's would need to be a site if they contributed to our youth shelter site.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay, so that doesn't count.
Not necessarily, not unless they contributed directly because of they learned about the Safe Place program and they wanted to help out.
Okay. Well, shoot.
Yeah, can I also, this is Bridget, can I just clarify? So I want to make sure I have this too. I've been doing this for 3 years and I learn new stuff all the time. So for the new coordinators, just keep that in mind. You won't know everything immediately. But Robin, so with contributions, if they contribute specifically to the Safe Place program, so if it's a Safe Place event or whatever, something specific, they don't necessarily have to be a Safe Place site in order to do that. Correct? And you would enter it under your agency and your agency's contributions with a note about who it was.
That is correct.
Okay. If they're a site, a safe place site, that's the correlation there. They're connected because of their site and they can contribute in any way to your agency. So there
Yeah.
just has to be some sort of connection to the safe place program, whether it's a direct service to the program or by participating as a site. Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to work that out in my brain.
Nope, that's correct. And then if you have questions, just ask. All right. Other questions, comments? All right. Well, that's all I have. Thank you guys for sticking with me for 6 hours or so. I know it was a lot of information, and you'll have to have some time for it to sink in, but I'm always here if you have any questions. The group is always here. They're great about sharing resources, so take advantage of that. And then otherwise, Amy, did you still want to stay on?
Yeah, well, I just have to, I can, yeah, if you can for a minute, that'd be awesome.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks
Do
everybody.
you know when our meetings? Do you know when our quarterly meeting's going to be?
I'm kind of afraid that we're going to have.
This is a disaster.
So what I'll do is I think it's probably going to have to be virtual, just kind of a check-in. Probably I'll send out a doodle poll and see when everybody's available, and then we'll select from there. And I'll do that today.
Okay.
So we have that scheduled, and then the one if things go back to semi-normal, the one in third quarter will be the IYSA retreat, which is September 1st and 2nd. You guys put that on your calendar. September 1st and 2nd is the retreat and that's the required. And I don't know anything about the NSP focus one yet. That's the one that's not necessarily required.
I saw the lizard
I know more about Zelda than I ever wanted to know.
Until we're back, as far as not working from a virtual office, just if any information goes out, which I think you probably already talked about that you guys had a meeting, like, just continue to include him on all of the emails for right now, and we'll move forward from what he tells us to do. So is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I'll leave Andy on there.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Again, so I'll have I will send out the doodle poll. You guys can keep a lookout for that for our next kind of broad everybody Safe Place Coordinator meeting, just to kind of check in. And then after that, plan on the 1st and 2nd. And this will be recorded. This has been recorded, so I'll send that link out too. Hopefully that answers everybody's questions. All right, thanks everyone. Stay safe, stay healthy.
Thanks, bye.
Thank you.
All right, bye.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, so realizing like I didn't know all the stuff that I had to get done. And so is like, that's what I was just wondering, if there's a list of like, okay, you need to get this and this done, would be so helpful. Like, and I apologize that we haven't had stuff done.
There's been a lot of transition, and a lot of transition to people who have had multiple responsibilities.
Yeah.
And so I know you guys get Safe Place Kids. I know you go out and you do presentations. The reporting has always been missing.
Yeah.
If I were to run a report, it would look like you guys aren't doing anything.
Yeah.
And I know that's not the case. And, you know, and so hopefully between you and Anathea, you can, I believe the information is there, and track back down and go back and recreate some of this stuff as much as possible so
Mhm.
that you have some record of your activity.
Yeah. Because I
Um,
even got a new Safe Place site, and I've talked to other people about doing safe places or becoming safe place sites. And now with this COVID, you know, because I have 3 others that want to do it, one fire station, another doctor's off, 2 other doctor's offices. So I have 3 other sites that even want to become safe place sites, but they're kind of like holding off while the COVID stuff is going on.
yeah, which, I mean, that's pretty standard.
Yeah.
So let's, you know, let's look really quick and see what you guys have. Probably not a lot.
I just added us on to that NSP website. So I guess even if you can just tell me like, okay, this is where, first of all, so I literally have no training in any of this stuff of what, besides what you did today. And
Okay. So let's see. I'm gonna. Hopefully this works. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna share my screen again so you can see what I'm on. So I signed in for Basher.
okay, hold on. I was trying to.
Okay. So if we go to agency, what we have here? Come on. All right. So you do have your. Okay. So your presentation goals, I can tell you right now, that's not enough. Although you guys don't get money. So I would like though for you, for you got the agencies that are part of it but are not getting funding to still kind of follow the same.
Yeah.
I mean, you really should, even if it's not because you're getting money, it should still be 25% because that's Safe Place implementation.
Yeah, we've done a couple presentations this year already.
Let me see. So your presentation goal should be, oh, I don't have Basher on here.
Like 3,400 or something like that.
Yeah, no, I mean, you have a lot of kids. That's a pretty high number.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it really should be this number right here.
Okay.
So do you want to change that? I mean, that way you know.
Well, no, I know now 6,431 is how many contacts we're supposed to have, right?
Yeah. Okay. And then you're going to pass out the same amount of cards, 6,431. Whoops, not that many.
All right, and those cards are just the 202 hope, like just our number, and then like because this list is the 202 hope is what our phone number is, and that's the card you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Right, I know where those are and everything. See, and I've done presentations, but I didn't even hand those out because I didn't know I was supposed to hand those out either.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be kind of the way that you track your numbers is by the cards.
Okay, so just taking a bunch, and then when I do hand them out, then I count them before I leave. It makes sense, yeah.
Yeah. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and I'm going to go to log in because I should be able to.
Yeah, you're on our page.
I am.
Oh.
Yeah.
See, now those names are different than. Oh,
See,
yep. Yeah, because I deleted hers already, like you asked.
Okay. So you have one on here.
I just did it.
Okay, good.
And
right,
I
so
sent Anathea her login name. Yeah.
now do you want to leave Brad on here?
I don't know. No, we don't have to. I mean, he does have some information, but he was logging under Brittany's, so he wasn't even logging in underneath his.
Yeah.
So
well,
we him.
I'll leave that up to you. So if we go back to your agency, then you can actually, so, I mean, why is Mike on here?
Because he was one of the ones who found, he was like our first, so where did you get that at?
Where did I get what at?
How did you get to that part?
So I'm actually on your agent. So this is your agency
Oh,
page.
your agency, okay.
You can put your staff, and I know that Mike's there, but has he ever done anything with Safe Place?
No, not for years.
I didn't think so. So we can actually make him inactive. No. Yeah, we can go back
And
here.
Brittany, so should I delete Brittany's?
Is she not even there?
She's not with, I mean, she's with Basher, but she's not with Safe Place, not with the shelter at all.
Okay, yeah, I'd probably go ahead and just delete her.
And then
Leave-
how come Anathea's didn't get here?
Because this is a different place. So you created logins. So that's where I was. I was at logins accounts for you guys, but the staff is going to be different. So we can actually, so the coordinator, let's just edit this, is now you. Okay, and when did you start?
As the coordinator or as at the shelter care director?
As the, well, I guess as the shelter. I mean, Safe Place.
Well, let's put like 3 months ago, 2 months ago.
You were at the, oh, I'm going the wrong way.
I mean,
You were
I've been at the shelter since January 28th of last year.
Okay. You came to the Safe Place coordinator meeting in,
Correct, like December or January or something like that.
yeah.
It was.
So
That's
let's-
probably when we could put me as that. Because I was taking it over for Brad we knew Brad was leaving at that point. And then, yeah, so we knew he was leaving then.
All right, we'll just put you in January this year. And is it A Sturma?
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna submit that. All right, and then we're gonna add Anathea. Did I spell her name right?
A Rodriguez. Oh, sorry, I was looking at it on my page. Anathia. It's so
A-N-
small. I can't see it. Yeah, Anathia, and then
Right.
Rodriguez, Rodriguez.
Okay, yeah. And so she,
Thank you for helping me after this with this.
oh no, that's fine. We'll just put hers as today. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Today's the 5th. All right, and then
A Rodriguez at basher.org.
Z. All right, and then we go back, and then she's there. Okay. So we've got you, Anathea. We can just get rid of Brittany. Okay. All right, and then you've got a decent number of sites.
Yeah, let me see, because I talked to him about it, and let me see if my new site is on there even, which would be no, so my new one, which I gave him all the information on to put it in there, because, and it's not even on here.
All right. So then when you have that, so, you get where you have all that information, you just hit this new site button.
Uh-huh.
And then, so, you'll like what the category is, whatever it is. If it's a fire station, grocery store, whatever, you add,
The
just
doctor's
click that.
office. Yeah.
What is it?
Doctor's office.
Okay. So then that would be
Because see, I even went out there, I met with them for a half an hour, I brought them their site things. But see, I never knew that we were supposed to get money from them or anything. Or like when you said that today, I was like, holy shit, because we've never asked for any of that from any of our places, I don't believe.
You don't have to. It's an agency decision, but why would you not?
Yeah, why should we pay for it all when they don't? Well, and I guess I'll just have to talk to that with Sean and them and see, like, do we want to? All right,
Yeah.
because that was like, even with those big signs, I said, and I asked Brad, I said, how do we get signs? He's like, I don't even know. Da, da, da. So like, it was just like the blindly, I love Brad to death, don't get me wrong. However, like, it was nothing. Like I did, and I was assuming that he was doing it all because I didn't know, and
Yeah.
he's like, because I'd ask him about it. All right, how's this going? Oh, I got it in there. Da, da, da. And then like, even for this one, I had the page, like I printed off the page and then signed up all the information, had the contact person. I don't have that. It's at my office. So,
Right.
and I'm working from home. So I can't get to even add that one in. It's going to have to be a little while. Or wait, let me see. No, I was going to say by some miracle, but no. Oh yeah, so these are the little cards that I was talking about, that, like that, this card.
So it looks like you guys made those up. Now that doesn't have any of the safe place information on it. Does it?
Well, no, these ones just say the Children's Shelter 574202 Hope, and then it has like the Basher stuff. But we have a whole big box of these things. But I'll have to check with the other ones to see if any of the others have like the safe station stuff.
Yeah, you'll need you should have the safe place logo. You should have the text for help information. And
Oh yeah, we do have those. I remember seeing those, the text for help.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because those are the ones that they're gonna, and they come with all of your information on it too.
Yeah, they
But
do.
it helps kids recognize the sign and have the text for help information, which is important.
Yeah.
Okay,
All
so
right.
let's do monthly data, see what you guys, oh, you have some reports. You don't have any since June of last year.
Really?
Yeah. So you have, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, missing a couple in 18, and then you have, January through June of 19, but then it looks like nothing since then.
Yeah, and he was when we were doing our supervision, like he was telling me that he was putting that stuff in, because he even went and did presentations. Like throughout the last year, he did presentations.
So it will be, I guess, a matter of trying to get with him to get those numbers and recreate what you can.
Okay. So like with us not having all that stuff, do we take like a chance of losing this or anything? Or like, how does that?
I mean, there is, it's funny, NSP has, because you have a license agreement with them. And in that license agreement, you're agreeing to do all of this stuff.
Yeah.
If you aren't doing all of this stuff per that license agreement, then they do have the capability of yanking the program.
Yeah.
And saying, okay, we're not going to sign a license agreement with you. You're not doing what you're supposed to do. We don't know what you're doing. So, they potentially could do that. It has been rare that they do that. We are just a little bit different in that they look to us to say to them, okay, like I'm really having trouble with this program. What do we? So we kind of tag team if that's been the case.
Yeah.
Because you guys don't get funding, there's that kind of, you want to do what you need to do to keep the program and meet implementation standards piece.
Yeah.
So, and it could be that, you don't apply for the Safe Place program funding because it's just not enough to worry about. It's just so little.
Well, that's what I think they were even because I know that they were questioning it and said, do we want to keep doing this even because of all the paperwork and all the things that you have to do and we're not really getting anything in return for it? I know that Bashers even questioned that, you know.
Also aren't taking advantage of the money that's available.
Yeah. And I think that was the other thing is I think, sorry, I'm just dumbfounded right now of like, oh my God. And then not realizing, like when you're just taking somebody at their word or whatnot, and then realizing how behind you are. Because like, I admit paperwork's not my strength. I'm a people person. I'm out there, you know, like I can sell whatever. You know what I mean? Not sell, but you know what I mean? I go out there and communicate with whomever. And so that was one of the good things. And that's what we've talked about, like how we want to do this. So I even got into another school and stuff, but now with this COVID stuff, like it's been hard, but all the Goshen hospitals, doctor's offices, like, so all the different things, we're like partnering up with them. Like I've
Wow.
talked with a few different doctor's offices and how they want to partner up with me and well, with us and become Safe Place presentation, you know, and I went to the doctor's meeting and met with them for like 45 minutes, answered all their questions. What if a parent comes in and they, you know, like, we're like, okay, well, we haven't seen it yet. And, you know, but, yeah, it is, so when you were saying that too about earlier, well, if a person comes with a gun, what do you do? Call the police, you know, like, yeah, same thing you would do if anybody else came in with a gun. Yeah, so I think people want to help. They just also are scared of like for liability or how it would come back to them and stuff. But all right, so I guess what I'm asking is there, because when I asked earlier about like, okay, is there a report like where it just says, okay, you need to do this, 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 so, and have this, everything done this way or this month or whatnot? Is there something like that, like a checklist or?
I don't know if that was something that Bridget sent out.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to look at it. She said there was something kind of like that.
Yeah, she mentioned something like that. I haven't seen it. Really, the only thing that you guys, I don't know if I'd have to look through the material to see if there's that, like a new quarter. There has to be under the new coordinator stuff.
Yeah, this one is a pre-activity worksheet and protocol for presentation, pre-post worksheet that she sent out. And I started a new folder of of all this Safe Place stuff, so that way we can go, you know, like I can start doing it all and having it. I'm sure that there is probably someone who I think she did say that something of like a cheat sheet or whatever. That's just that way I can say, okay, this is what we know we have to get done. Da, 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 da. Does that make sense of just something like, yeah.
Yeah, it does. I'm looking on to see if they've got something here. Operations manual, site check
And now
form.
this one, that's the NSB. So I'm trying to find out even all the websites I need to go to and type in everything. Oh, you're still recording us.
Oh, am I? Oh, I
Yeah.
am. I'll edit it.
Okay.